Hi. Oh my gosh.
Let's get this show on the road. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Torn Tuesday, your weekly dose of all things Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and TV shows and movies and games and everything else. I see our chat room is live with Julia and Emma and Alex and a lot of our regulars and a lot of new folks. So, welcome to Torn Tuesday. We do this every Tuesday at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Uh, Sometimes it's noon in Wellington, but right now I think it's like 1 or 2 in Wellington. I don't know, but we're fortunate to be a global fandom, aren't we, Cliff?
Very, very excited to be a global fandom. Wait, is it 1 or 2 in the afternoon? You mean afternoon in New Zealand, not morning. But yeah, hi everybody. Welcome. A worldwide audience is always here across all time zones, and we can't keep up with them, but I'm surprised at how many people are watching our show at the wee hours of the morning,
From
meaning you
wait,
guys in the United
Braz-
Kingdom. Hello, UK, staying up late
and
in the UK.
South Africa and
Oh, yes.
Singapore and
Oh, yes.
Brazil and Mexico. Hello, everybody. Cliff, the chat room says we have our first request for the Gollum mask. So, are we done with
Um,
that gag?
we're done. Yeah, that's the end of the Gollum mask. Maybe next Halloween when there's an appropriate time to do that. But no, 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 no. We'd
Hola.
rather. You know what? We've got to talk about. Were we talking about elven songs? Okay, we were just having this conversation, you and I, the other day, that there's a preponderance of dwarves singing. We get a lot of dwarven singing in these movies, but there are no elves singing. Even though in the books, in all of the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings books, there is a noticeable preponderance of elvish singing, even to the point of Bilbo making a comment about it in the 1977 animated film, that there's something not to miss is elvish singing. So we were speculating about whether we're going to have dwarves singing in the upcoming Amazon series or elves. Will there be more of an opportunity that has been missed by other adaptations? Have not given us enough of pure, real moments of elven songcraft and poetry. It hasn't happened. Vaguely speaking, when Mithrandir has his lament in Lothlorien, you can only hear that in the background of the extended edition of the Fellowship of the
Wait,
Ring,
you're
where you
talking about the
hear
movies, right? Like, there's
the
no
movies.
elvish
There's
singing
no there's
in the
no
movies.
elvish singing. You pointed out to me, I want someone in the live chat. I can see you. Hello, everybody. Hello, everyone in the live chat on YouTube. It's nice to see everyone again. But where was the elvish singing in any of the 6 Peter Jackson movies?
Hey,
It
hang
wasn't
on.
even in
Wait
the
a sec.
animations. It was not in the animated films. There's no elvish
Pause.
singing.
I'm gonna say you're wrong because
Where was it?
I
Where
remember
was it?
distinctly because it left an impression on my little feeble mind that hadn't read the books yet. I remember specifically that when the hobbits first see the elves walking through the forest, and it's the first time they've ever seen elves, the elves are singing. I distinctly remember elves singing the first time the hobbits come across them,
Ah, that's
and
right. That's in the extended
Aragorn
edition of Fellowship of the Ring.
Aragorn
When
says something about they are leaving. They're leaving us or
No,
something.
Aragorn is not in that scene. They have not met him yet. It's a
Okay.
private conversation between Sam and Frodo. I do remember exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
Right.
I do
And then
remember.
and then
But don't get it twisted. There's no Aragorn there. Okay.
but then we hear in the extended edition, we do hear Aragorn singing in Elvish in both Fellowship and Two Towers. So there is Elvish
Yeah.
singing. That is 2 points. So I just want to say that you're wrong on this count. We did see Elvish singing. Okay?
Okay. Thanks. You know what? Okay. Do you know what? It does not stand out on stage the way that you have a performance. Like literally in The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, the dwarves are fully stopping the movie stops, and we have a performance. Okay. It happens again in the extended Unexpected Journey, where Boffer has a song in Rivendell, and he appropriates one of Frodo's musical numbers from the book. But okay, granted, yeah, there is Elizabeth Fraser singing in the background of the Lothlorien scene when Legolas recognizes that they're singing a lament for Gandalf.
Monica says
Aside
there's no
from that,
Elvish singing by the elves. I'm saying that I remember hear them singing, and while they're marching through the forest when the hobbits first see them. Also, Lindir exists because he sings.
But he doesn't sing in any of the 6 films. He does not sing. The elves do not sing performatively. The elves do not sing.
They don't perform for an audience. They're just singing as they're walking out of.
They're not even. You are correct. Aside from the Cocteau Twins lead vocalist Elizabeth Fraser being heard in Lothlorien, you are correct, Justin, that the other occurrence of elves singing in Peter Jackson's wonderful cinematic version is limited to those extended scenes where Frodo and Sam.
It's passive singing, whereas in the first Hobbit movie, we got dwarves actively singing around Bilbo's house.
Yeah, there's only Frodo and Sam notice it. So what I'm looking for is an opportunity in Amazon Studios to give us something that we have not seen yet. And I want to ask everybody in the chat room, yes or no, raise your hands if you're ready for some more elves to sing in the show, or who do you expect to be doing some of the songs? Because I'm hoping.
That's a great question, and
I'm hoping we get some singing.
The title of the show, because the title of the show I just quickly put up because I couldn't think of anything else. But I said, "Can Amazon buy your Lord of the Rings loyalty?" That's the main thesis of today's show. So we want to talk about a few things of how can Amazon generate that loyalty, because I guess I'm inspired by the big news today that Microsoft is buying Activision, and everyone's scratching their heads because they're like, wait, are we supposed to be angry or happy? Is this a good thing or a bad thing? And the vibe I'm getting from everybody, like, we don't know how to react about Microsoft buying Activision, because Activision's a pretty terrible misogynistic company. I'm getting this.
Okay.
There's similar bylines on what fans feel with Amazon's show. It's like, should we be excited? Is this a good thing or a bad thing? And I don't think we know how to feel yet.
Not until we see some actual proof of what the writers have done in the scripts. We don't know how to feel yet. I mean, except for, this is an exciting time to have a brand new adaptation come our way. It's really exciting to go to Numenor and to go to places very distant on the map of Arda. This is all exciting stuff, but we really don't know what to think about it until we get a look at what the writers have bothered to give us in terms of storytelling and character.
Right.
Am I right?
So that theory of like, how do we get excited? Should we be excited? Is this good? Is this bad? This is one key thing. The singing is such an important part of Tolkien's legendarium. Both
absolutely
in the books, he is a poet first, and a linguist second, and a writer third.
No, linguist first, poet second, writer third.
Okay.
Perhaps.
So
Okay.
And part of what made Peter Jackson's movie so beloved and charming, no matter what you feel about the Hobbit movies, if you revisit them, you will wish that more movies felt as good as the Hobbits do. It's the singing is so important, and I feel, Cliff, we started talking about this earlier this week, the singing, because as you know, during the pandemic, sea shanties really took off on TikTok.
Mm-hmm. They did.
And some of the best sea shanties were of big baritone men singing in unison, as you do on TikTok. And
yes,
hearing the Misty Mountains song, hearing the Richard Armitage and the Dwarves sing Misty Mountains in the movies, and then hearing TikTok embrace the Misty Mountains song. I'm telling you that the songs are so important to Tolkien, and not just a singular singer like Aragorn singing at his coronation. I'm talking, as you said, they're not just performative, right? Poetry and singing is so important and key to Tolkien.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Keep in mind, it was the dwarves singing that actually moved Bilbo's heart to even bother to go on that adventure. If they had not done that, then his heart would not have been moved to go on the journey to Erebor.
Hang on.
It was because of the singing. Yeah, read the bloody book. Yes.
You can't tell
read
me
the bloody book.
You can't tell me to read that book.
Read The Hobbit. It will take you about 4.5 hours or 5 hours to read the book at a brisk pace, really, and you will understand how you. And I'm just trying to back you up, brother. I'm not trying to rag on you at all. I'm backing you up because what Professor Tolkien did in the stories was to make the poetry, something as an essential part of where we are in this ancient history, because you're talking about a time when a lot of recorded history was not recorded and it was oral tradition. We're looking at Beowulf and the influence of the Anglo-Saxon and the elder epic poems, and those were all a great heritage of oral tradition, of passing down those ancient stories in Iceland, in Finland, and in Scandinavia, and in those early story cycles in Anglo-Saxon in England. I'm telling you guys, Professor Tolkien. Let me finish this one sentence. Professor Tolkien, I assert, was a genius, and he knew what he was doing. Okay, let's just start with that from the ground up. Tolkien knew what he was doing in terms of using songcraft, poetry, and those verses to build the sense of place, that remarkable sense of history and place where we were in Middle-earth. It is not a mistake. It is not an overindulgence. And there were a lot of literary critics at the time, and even still to this day, people are like, oh, I skip the pages with the poems. I skip it when I read it. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're missing the point of this type of storytelling. Okay, you're missing the real echoes of ancient history and the way he's building this. So don't miss out. Do not skip out on the verses when you read them. I mean, Professor Tolkien was a genius, and he knew exactly what he was doing.
So
That's all I gotta say.
Let me read a couple comments from the chat. Nigel says, music is the most important part. They have to get right for the show to be successful. Leia says, the entire creation of Arda was the Song of Iluvatar.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
And so I wanted to ask you, Stephen says, yes, the ring came to Frodo because Bilbo was inspired by music. And that's basically what you just said. He left his doorstep because he was inspired by music. So, Cliff, do you feel that like we've got to hear some music, like characters singing in first few episodes?
If you have characters singing in the first few episodes, people are just going to love it. They're going to love it. It's going to be.
Will that get your loyalty? If episode 1 you see elves singing the song of Iluvatar as they're talking about the flashback and the creations of Middle Earth and the two
elves.
trees.
No, that doesn't exist for any elf living to sing. That was something sung by the angelic powers. You know what would be impressive? Yes, the answer is yes. If you keep it within the railings, keep your bowling ball within the railings, Justin. We're bowling with railings tonight, okay? If Professor Tolkien really does use those verses, they're there for a reason. Like I said, if Amazon and the writer's room uses some of those wonderful songs and verses, yes, that will win over the hearts of many. That will definitely win over the hearts of many people.
Yes,
of course it will. Yes, it will. Yeah, absolutely. I can say that with confidence. Yeah,
okay,
confidence.
Orion's Angel in the chat room says, if the singing is so important, then why did Peter Jackson leave out so much of the singing in his films?
Well, Orion's Angel, you make an interesting point. This is a half glass is half empty conversation versus the glass is half full. A lot of fans are tickled pink that Peter Jackson bothered to put in any of the songs or any verses at all. I mean, it's not like a musical number followed by another musical number like it was in 1977 when Rankin and Bass did the children's animated film, The Hobbit. It was not made that way, like an animated musical. The way that Peter Jackson actually introduced some of the songs and verses was in very, very small, subtle ways. Most noticeably, Strider, Aragorn, but he had to make up for it in The Hobbit, and there was so much missing from The Lord of the Rings, and you're right, Orion's Angel is correct. A lot of us were really, really critical that so much poetry was not in the movies. But then comes the Hobbit trilogy years later, and there's much more. There's much more singing going on there.
Only in the first movie, which everyone considers is an instant classic and one of the best.
I would say that, yeah, if you want to talk about the Hobbit movies, we'll narrow the scope of that conversation to just An Unexpected Journey, which is probably the one most worthy of consideration, arguably. Okay.
And if you listen to all of our watch-alongs and our special episodes with Doug Adams, the author of the music of Lord of the Rings, he's given us so much time. He's given us over 30 hours of wonderful content with you guys. But if you go back to our YouTube and watch anything with Doug Adams, you will find that the writers included a lot of that poetry and a lot of those songs in the score, in Howard Shore's part of the movie. So you don't see the elves singing, but you hear those same songs being sung as part of the background music.
And you also hear some brand new concoctions that were created by David Sallow, Philippa Boyens, and Howard Shore. There are some new things that are put in there as well. But yeah, a lot of the stuff is background music.
And Fran Walsh won a Grammy and an Oscar for writing.
Yeah. Do you know how impressed I am? Nerd of the Rings, thank you, Matt, had reminded me yet again that Arwen is in the extended edition of Return of the King. Not Arwen, but rather Liv Tyler. It is Liv Tyler who is singing in the Houses of Healing.
Oh my God.
Thank you for reminding me. That is Liv Tyler singing. That's pretty close to getting a real elf to sing to us in that movie. Thank you for reminding me of that. That's great.
So songs are so important. So when we talk about how ways that Amazon can buy your loyalty, like really quick.
Okay, are we having a marketing? Is this about marketing now? We're talking about. All right.
I don't expect to see any songs in the trailers. Come on, like this is fan service. Songs and poetry are fan service that we only get in the show. So
but An Unexpected Journey was very successful in marketing itself very early on with dwarves singing. It was a very powerful thing.
Yeah, we did post that.
We responded to that huge. Before we knew any of the Hobbit movies, before they came out, we did respond huge. to the dwarven singing stuff in the
So
early marketing.
So this is what brought up this conversation this week, Cliff, because we have some green dragon gossip.
Oh, no, we do. We're getting early, only 21 minutes into the episode. And ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to get right to the gossip. Justin, are you going to do this? Are you going to gossip this?
All right. The rumors...
Kids, the rumors are coming. Fast and furious now.
Rumors from the set. Again, none of this will ever be confirmed until we actually see the show. So the latest green dragon gossip. Where's my beer? Where's my stein?
All right. Where's my stein? Okay, you know what? Kids, pull up around the campfire while Justin pulls out his guitar and tells us a little, sings us a little kumbaya about what's happening in Arda. What is it?
Well, that's an interesting turn of phrase, because today's Green Dragon gossip is, according to people that were on the set at the time, there is singing.
Are you hearing this?
In Moria.
Are you what? There's singing in Moria. Okay, cool. All right, cool. If I were that nerd boy on Robot Chicken, I'd be like, so cool, and I'd be blinking at the ceiling. I'm very pleased to hear that. Very pleased. Okay.
So it's interesting that you keep talking about Iluvatar singing and the elves singing, and you're really focused on those historical moments of singing and poetry. But when I heard that the dwarves are singing, or that there is singing in Moria, that's what I've heard. That's more exciting to me, because hearing Richard Armitage again, the sea shanties that were popular during the pandemic, and that marketing, the video that we got from New Line Cinema of the dwarves singing, fantastic, just fantastic.
You know what? It worked once, and they're going to use it and work it again. I mean, like I said, we as a fandom responded so positively to the dwarves singing in an unexpected journey. If they think that it works, it's going to work again. So sounds like a reliable formula in Middle-earth now. Get your dwarves in there so they can sing the sea shanties.
But the other part of this Green Dragon gossip is our source did not use a plural version of singing. He said there is singing in Moria, or she said there is singing in Moria, but all the phrases that were used were singular, as if there's only one dwarf singing
instead of multiple dwarves. I want to hear the whole room with dwarves singing to the mountain. I mean, that'd be so cool. I would love to hear, an ancient dwarven song when Moria is not Moria. Please remember, we need to call it Khazad-dûm.
Well, it's called all these different things based on what race of people you're talking about.
No. Based upon the time of incidents. The elves do not call it the Black Pit of Moria until after the Balrog is exposed and kills everybody, and everybody runs. So, no, it's called Khazad-dûm.
Khazad-dûm is the bridge. Khazad-dûm is the chasm.
No, Khazad-dûm is the name of the dwarven city under the mountains, just the way that Erebor is the name of the dwarven city underneath the lonely mountain.
That's Dwarodelf.
That is a section. Dwarodelf is a section of, like a palazzo, like a section of Khazad-dûm. Khazad-dûm is the dwarf city itself. Okay, anybody in the chat want to help him out?
All right. So, are we calling it Khazad-dûm? Are we calling it Moria? Wait, isn't there a man?
Dwarodelf is another name. But Khazad-dûm is the name that the dwarves called it, and it was never called Moria until after the Balrog was accidentally discovered and he killed everybody, and it became a nightmare.
The bridge of Khazad-dûm is not the city itself. Dwarodelf is the city inside Khazad-dûm. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
The bridge of Khazad-dûm, as Steven says in the live chat, is just called that because it is the bridge of Khazad-dûm. That's all you got. It is the bridge of the city.
I just want to be clear. Like, it's exciting. This rumor is super exciting. It gets me hype up. And I'm telling you, singing and poetry is so important to me as a fan that doesn't read much, but more important to you, Cliff, as the ultimate well-read book nerd. Like singing and poetry. So I hope they lean into that.
I do too. I would like to have many, many seasons of them never bringing Ed Sheeran onto the show to do a song. Okay, let's just say that up front. No surprise cameo.
I liked
it's
him.
Totally distracting.
But we already got him. We already got.
I know, and that's why I'm making the joke. That's why I'm making the joke. It's an obvious joke to make.
A Game of Thrones joke.
I'm making a joke. Yeah, look. Please let all the people sing in all the races of Middle Earth. And let all the races of Middle Earth have lots of songs in how many? 5 seasons? We got 5 seasons, maybe more, of this TV show. And I would like to have wall-to-wall like singing of different people in Middle Earth. I love that. I think it's great. As long as they don't like a surprise, here's Katy Perry dressed as an elf to do a cameo. As long as they don't do something like that. Okay?
Don't do what Shannara Chronicles did.
Oh gosh, no.
No. In fact, I think we've said this several times on the show, and I will continue to campaign for Enya. Amazon need that Jeff's $1 trillion. They need to just back up a dump truck of cash to Enya's castle and just dump cash in her yard. And to let her be involved in this show. So she's been writing and singing elvish songs in her castle all through the pandemic. I want this to be part of the show. Oh,
Maximal is asking, what did Shannara do?
Oh, Shannara Chronicles. The show originally debuted on MTV, and they leaned into using modern pop music.
Yeah,
as the soundtrack to the show.
You could call that a very anachronistic for a fantasy, medieval fantasy world. They were using anachronistic choices of music.
Yeah,
that's the least you can say.
Even though we love Shannara Chronicles because it has Jed Brophy and John Rhys Davies and several of our friends from Lord of the Rings. But just to put a button on the music thing. If the rumors are true, I'm really excited to hear the songs of Moria. But I will be infinitely disappointed if it's a singular voice. The power of the dwarves is the group singing and the group voice. And it's always... forgive me if I'm wrong in this, but my interpretation of everything I know about the dwarves is that they are stronger in groups. And they always act as a collective.
Yeah.
And so if all I'm saying is if you distract from the collective, because we already know that Galadriel's on her own solo quest doing something, and there's gonna be Harfoots over here and Men of Numenor, and we know what the kings of Numenor do, and princes and all that stuff. So it's like the dwarves are a unit. So they need to sound like a unit. They need to sing like a unit. That's what I'm saying.
I would join you in a chorus of approval.
But dwarves...
I had to make that joke.
Varking, you're right. Dwarves can 1v1 with the best of them. I agree. But when they're... look, when Thorin doesn't just go to reclaim Erebor. He brings a company of dwarves. Right?
Mm-hmm. And they sing. And they sing.
And they sing. So, Cliff, let's move it on. 1 year ago today, Cliff. You know what happened 1 year ago?
Oh no! Don't tell me they started principal photography 1 year ago today.
Oh no, they were already knee deep in photography. 1 year ago today, we got the official synopsis from Amazon's Lord of the Rings show. This was the first official thing that anyone had ever seen from Amazon's show. That was one short year ago. And
I can't believe that was a year ago. I can't believe it.
In 1 year, this is all we got, plus a photo. So let's read this synopsis, Cliff. All right. This is what we debuted exclusively at the One Ring a year ago today. Amazon Studios' forthcoming series brings to screens for the very first time the heroic legends of the fabled Second Age of Middle-earth's history. This epic drama is set thousands of years before the events of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and will take viewers back to an era in which great powers were forged, kingdoms rose to glory and fell to ruin. Unlikely heroes were tested. Hope hung by the finest of threads. And the greatest villain that ever flowed from Tolkien's pen threatened to cover all the world in darkness.
Do you know what? That last bit, the greatest villain, is the one that causes a lot of argument and concern. That Still, because it is entirely not correct
it's not right.
It's not correct to say whether Morgoth or Sauron was the greater of the two villains.
Yeah, because it's just wrong.
I mean, so unless they're making the show about Melkor / Morgoth, then you've got that covered. That's a safety zone. You've got that covered. But I got a feeling that this show is going to be a hell of a lot more about Anatar, Sauron, than anybody.
I got a feeling. All right, let's continue. Beginning in a time of relative peace, the series follows an ensemble cast of characters, both familiar and new, as they confront the long-feared reemergence of evil to Middle-earth.
Ooh. Now that is a reference to after the War of Wrath and the sinking of Beleriand under the seas, and the coastland changed, and suddenly the shores of Middle-earth were literally at the Blue Mountains, where Gil-galad had founded Lindon, the elvish kingdom of Lindon, along with a certain Elrond, who chose to be elvish from his destiny. And at that time, the period was peaceful. It was peaceful until Sauron showed up and started mucking about. Yeah, that's true. But
all right,
they're referring to this stuff. Read that last sentence again. You just did again.
Beginning in a time of relative peace.
Mm-hmm.
The series follows an ensemble cast of characters, both familiar and new, as they confront the long-feared reemergence of evil to Middle-earth.
Okay, that's the part of the sentence. The long-feared reemergence of evil. Well, after the sinking of Beleriand and after Morgoth was punished by the gods and goddesses, the angelic powers of the Valar, and Morgoth was put beyond the door of night, who is going to reemerge?
That's clearly
exactly
Sauron.
The only person who reemerged, according to that verbiage that they used, it is Sauron, because Morgoth did not reemerge. So
that's right.
That means
put a button in it. Put a button in it.
That means it's about Sauron, and they give it away. That gives it away. The word reemergence gives away the exact person we're talking about in the history, right?
But my question is the start of that sentence, beginning in a time of relative peace. Is there ever a time of relative peace?
Yeah, you're going to see a time of relative peace. At this time, there's going to be Númenóreans having a great time expanding around and teaching people agriculture, and the elves and the dwarves living together like cats and dogs lying down together right outside of Khazad-dûm. There's no evil Balrog. There's no Watcher in the Water. There's no evil shadow over Khazad-dûm. Everyone's having a great time. They're having a good time.
The dragons are dead. Like, everyone's living kind of carefree.
Things are pretty chill. Yeah, there's no Witch King of Angmar yet. because there's no 9 rings
And
yet.
all of the castles that the Witch King and Gundabad, all the castles that the orcs are from are actually human settlements of good, right? Like
hmm the big conflict they're going to get into, obviously, and thank you, Otaku Senpai, for correctly identifying. They're going to get into the war of Sauron and the elves, and that comes all around the creation of the rings and Sauron revealing himself as, surprise. It was never a dude named Anatar in the first place. It was
okay.
never a cute. It was never a cute little fuzzy kitty cat. It was really a demon hiding in a cute little package. You thought it was cute and fuzzy,
All
but what
right,
it really is horrible and evil.
there's another
So now
sentence
you
in
know.
this.
Now you know.
From the darkest depths of the misty mountains to the majestic forests of the elf capital of Lindon, to the breathtaking island kingdom of Numenor, to the furthest reaches of the map, these kingdoms and characters will carve out legacies that live on long after they are gone.
Do you know what? That means they're going to places that we've never been, like Hrun, the massive region to the east of the map. They might even go to the Orokarni, the Red Mountains in the east. And you know what that means? Do you know what that means? Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. Blue wizards are a possibility because they're going to the furthest. And that's where Tolkien says they went. They went off into the distance and did not become a part of the tales of the Third Age.
Right,
so
yeah.
now we're in the Second Age, and Amazon has literally promised us that we're going off the map. So let's put some wizards in there.
From my understanding, but you said in this statement they say beginning in time of relative peace. But my understanding of Numenor is they were colonizers, and they chopped down a lot of forests, and they were a little too aggressive in their business dealings.
That's how it eventually became. That's how it eventually became, but that is not how it started out.
Okay.
This gives the writers a chance to show the changes in that process.
Okay. Well, so if we're in a time of relative peace and prosperity, and it was confirmed a year ago that we're going to Moria, and then we've had a lot of leaks and rumors. And if you've been watching the show, you've seen some of those leaks and rumors.
Sean McDonald, or here Sean in the YouTube chat says, starting episode 3 of season 1, we will be in the late Second Age, and Tar Palantiri will be king, the last king before our Pharazôn, which is the penultimate ruler. So that confirmation, if that's true, if we can confirm that, and you know what, honestly, at this point, we cannot confirm that, but thank you. That is the ongoing reporting that we are hearing. But that if they're going to show the transition from the prior king and then show what it's like going into the last king of Numenor, then they can show everything about the downfall of Numenor and its incredible decline at the hand of none other than Sauron. By the end of season 1, we don't know what's up. But by the end of season 2, we should be in the war of the elves and Sauron. And then by season 3, we should have Sauron taken captive and held in Numenor. And then through seasons 3 and 4, the corruption of the Numenorians and the distinct sectioning off of the faithful Numenorians and the ones who are worshiping Morgoth under the teaching of Sauron. And then by the time you get to the end of season 4, you can go right into season 5, massive cataclysm everywhere, and let season 5 just be gangbusters and everything going crazy. I'm intrigued at what they can do in late Second Age time frame of storytelling. And I know that everybody else is intrigued as well. Yeah.
Numenor was colonizing. So we started off the year a year ago this week with this synopsis that got everything going. During that year, we only got one other drop of knowledge, which was that photo with no caption attached to it. All we knew is there's a person on there, and there's 2 trees, and there's 2 cities. And what we started to deduce is this is a flashback from the first episode. And
from the first age.
From the first age, but from before the first age.
Maybe even before, technically before the first age was reckoned. Yeah.
And we learned that person
Maybe.
was Finrod.
Finrod Felagund.
Rumors. And
Yes.
who is Finrod in relation to anyone that we know? Let's say Galadriel.
It's Galadriel's brother. Yes.
So that's all we've got. And then just a few weeks ago for Christmas, Amazon sent us this wonderful box, and it had extra words in it. And Cliff, let me read it. Prime Video invites you to join us on this journey as we bring the lesser-known corners of Tolkien's Arda to life.
I love it.
Is this the first time? Is this
lesser-known corners
that New Line Cinema or Amazon have ever used the term Arda?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the first time I've ever. Unless, hey, is it in the synopsis?
No, Arda is not
1 year
in the
ago?
synopsis. No, we just brought it up. This synopsis does not have Arda in it. It says second age of Middle Earth history. Great powers were forged. An era. Misty mountains, edges of the map. So this is the first time that anyone's ever said anything about Arda.
I'm glad that they're paying attention to the details, because stuff like that is for book fans. That is not even common knowledge to what you'd call just a casual movie viewer who's never read the books. Sort of like someone we know.
Alex says,
casual movie viewers don't know what Arda really is.
No, they don't. Alex says, I will get chills if we get a flashback to him watching the boats burn. And
wow, that would be so cool. You know what? I love the way you think. That's the best. I love that idea. But that's Silmarillion stuff. They would have to do an extra bit of licensing to get that bit of the story, right?
Dave Gentry says when they first broke the news that there was going to be a third Hobbit movie, which we broke. We broke first because we talked to Peter Jackson at Comic-Con when he said that. It was rumored that the third movie would be a bridge between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and Dave was really hoping to see what would happen with the dwarves at Khazad-dûm. Well, look, there's another opportunity for another spin-off at New Line Cinema to tell that story. To be clear, everything that we've heard is Amazon only has rights to the appendices and things mentioned in this book, like the prologue where they mention Harfoots and stuff like that. So these details matter. These details. Nerd of the Rings took the words right out of mouth. He says details matter and show intentionality and care for the source material.
Agreed.
Are you clipping your nails right now?
Nope. No, not at all. I'm actually looking at messages from the chat with people here on the live chat. I'm not clipping my nails at all.
It sounds like you're clipping your nails right now.
No, looking at my phone. Maybe my phone keyboard. Turn off my phone keyboard sounds. Sorry about that. But
maybe that was it.
Also, the very question that you would ask me, that I would do a thing like that in the middle of my own show and trim my nails in front of a live audience.
You got a yelling cat. Don't talk about professionalism.
I hear the yelling cat. Everybody loves my cat. This audience loves my cat.
CNN doesn't have cats.
You know what? The best thing that happened during shutdown was people getting interrupted by their toddlers in the news broadcast, getting interrupted by their dogs and their cats during the news. That was the best thing about doing Zoom, was that you could have all this going on, right? Anyways, I want to tell an answer back to Matt at Nerd of the Rings. He was asking both of us a question about what character out of the late Second Age are we really most interested in seeing brought to life in this new adaptation. By far, it has to be Celebrimbor. There's something. Okay, fine. You can have Durin. I want to know about the psychology of Celebrimbor, and how could an elf lord like him be fooled? How could any of the Noldorin, how could the Noldorin elves be duped by Anatar? And there's the psychological game between Celebrimbor and Anatar, and I want to get right into the nuts and bolts of that situation. I think Celebrimbor is the character I'm most intrigued because he's really the one who is responsible for all the shite that happens
I'm most
to
interested.
Frodo and everybody. It's because of Celebrimbor, honestly.
I am most interested in Sauron because the dude has to make 19 rings and give them out. It's not like Sauron had a very productive Christmas season and gave out 19 rings in one Christmas. It's like this man
Funny.
this being spent centuries making and distributing 19 of the most powerful rings. He has to befriend all of the rulers of dwarven kingdoms, and he has to make friends with all of the courts of men across Middle Earth.
Now,
We're talking 19 rings have to get distributed, and it's not going to happen in one season.
In this relationship between the elven lords, you know that Gil-galad
16 rings? Wait, hold on. 16 rings. Wait, is 19 rings get made and distributed, but then the elves realize the power that they have, so they give those 3 rings to another person. Right?
I mean, I think Matt is not including the 3 elven rings because Sauron did not make them. Sauron had nothing to do with making the 3 elven rings.
But he empowered them. But they have influence, right? Don't the 3 elven rings have some? Didn't he teach the ring maker how to put power into rings? And so after Sauron left, the ring maker made the 3 rings using his knowledge, and then there's a little bit of Sauron in those rings. Am I mistaken here?
No, there is not Sauron in the elven rings, but he was aware of them when he put on the 1 ring. He was aware of the 3 elven rings, and those elven ring bearers were also immediately aware of Sauron because they were using lessons of ringcraft that were taught to Celebrimbor. And Celebrimbor was using the technical craft of ring making that he had learned from Sauron. But Sauron did not touch them.
Okay.
So that's a little bit of an intriguing academic gray area that people like to talk about a lot, really.
So let's give some context. Again, folks, this is the Lord of the Rings synopsis that we got and shared with you as soon as we got it a year ago
and that
this
is
week.
A great point that Stephen mentioned, is that the 3 elven rings lost their power when the 1 was destroyed. That's also an interesting point of reflection.
There is a connection somewhere. Yeah. Okay.
So,
anyway, so a year ago we got this synopsis, and then 6 months ago we got that photo. I just want to remind people that even though we're showing you on screen, the OneRing.net made this graphic. So it's basically our NFT. So if you want to use this, you're gonna have to license it. We don't care how much you love Lord of the Rings. This is our graphic.
You're funny. You're funny, dude.
We joke because, oh geez, the Tolkien Society has still protected their tweets. The Tolkien Society is still dark after 2 weeks
protecting their tweets.
After 2 weeks of this nonsense. Tolkien Society, come on, get a sense of humor. If you guys missed the boat on this, last week.
Phil, I don't want to get into it. I don't want to. No.
Let me real quick. Here it is in the Sun, but it blew up the internet and it blew up in their face. But basically, the Tolkien Society pissed off everybody on Twitter by claiming copyright of a picture of J.R.R. Tolkien, and everybody on Twitter is like, "Don't you know how the internet works?" They're like, you have no, the Tolkien Society you have no permission to repost this image. And then it came out that the Tolkien Society spent $25,000 buying that photograph, thinking that we would all pay to share the JPEG. They're treating old pictures of Tolkien like an NFT. That's the joke.
That is the joke. I get the joke.
So
but,
So I just want to be clear. Let's just make this absolutely positively clear. There's no room for NFTs in the world of Tolkien. Period. So I know some movie theaters did an NFT promotion with Spider-Man lately. Amazon, if you're thinking about doing NFTs for Lord of the Rings, don't. Period.
Thank you.
It's a non-starter.
Yeah, it's a conversation I would never expect to be having on our show. So no, that's not going to happen, and nobody wants that. And if it ever does happen, I will be one of the first people to publicly deride the whole affair. Mark my words. I will come back to this video, and I will live this, and I will stand on this hill. I will be one of the first people to publicly deride any NFT options out of this.
Okay, so
I just did. I am historically on record now, the first person to deride it.
And to explain this, a bunch of people in the chat room. Good on you that you don't know what this is, but basically NFTs are the new way of saying I own this. It's a copyright. So if people are paying internet money, big fake internet money called crypto coins to purchase JPEGs of things.
Cryptocurrency that has no fiat in today's currency.
It's fake internet money. And people are using fake internet money to buy JPEGs on the internet, so they can claim I own this JPEG, even though everybody else can right click, save, share it. And so the Tolkien Society is adamant and was very angry at us for calling it an NFT when they had actually bought an actual photograph, like slides. They bought actual like photograph slides that include the rights to those photographs, and they want to start charging people for using them. And I'm like, for 20 years now, and like the One Ring and social media exists because we can share JPEGs and memes freely. And technically, every Lord of the Rings meme, from like Boromir going like this, or Elrond going like this, to Boromir saying, one does not walk into Mordor, all of the Lord of the Rings memes we love, they're taking the hobbits to Isengard. New Line owns that. Technically, they could shut every JPEG down, period, and everybody gets copyright strikes, and then your account gets busted, and you can no longer log onto Twitter. That would suck. But we don't, because information should be shared. So the idea, the concept behind NFT is you can buy this JPEG, and now you own this. And since you own it, now you can do whatever you want. You can resell it. You can charge people to use it. And the reality is, the internet doesn't work like that. We click, save, and share everything because information wants to be free. So that even though Tolkien Society does not own an NFT, they're treating old photos of J.R.R. Tolkien like NFTs. Basically, they bought a bunch of slides and say, we own this, you owe us. And Tina, you're absolutely right. You know how the One Ring did all these years? If we got something exclusive, we put our logo on it, and that's it. I love that cat.
He loves me.
Oh, we won't even get to the harmful environment thing. Like NFTs are backed by the blockchain, and the blockchain requires GPU mining, and there's all these horror stories about coal-powered power plants supporting mining, because mining is just basically a big, powerful computer that generates a lot of heat, so you have to run a lot of air conditioning to keep it cool. It's a whole thing. Basically, NFTs are bad for the environment. They're bad for education. They're bad for society. They're bad for the internet. They're bad for money. They're bad investments. So don't even do it as a marketing joke. Don't even do it. Keep Tolkien as far away from NFTs. It sounds like Saruman is behind NFTs. That's absolutely what it sounds like. So
I agree totally. And you know what? I'm glad we're done talking about it, because
we're done.
That means we'll never have to talk about it again on our show. And you know what? Good advice, by the way. Listen to Justin. This is one super important piece of advice. It's a bunch of junk. So forget about it. There you go.
Yeah.
That's the advice. It's junk.
Yeah, and if anyone at the Tolkien Society is watching, look, we're all fans of Tolkien, and we appreciate any effort to keep the society functional and funded and running. I appreciate that. Of all people, I can appreciate making money. I trust me. But treating 60-year-old photos of Tolkien like they're your own personal piggy bank and
Yeah.
yelling at other fans, as much as we like or don't like certain meme posting accounts, don't do that. Like,
Agreed.
yell.
Agreed. Agreed.
If Gawker, if Gizmodo, if Time Magazine, if IGN posted that photo, yell at them. But if someone posted on Twitter saying "Happy Birthday, Tolkien," and you say you can't use this photo, get out of here.
Yes. So it's okay though.
But this is related back to Amazon, because remember the first photo leaks we got from Amazon show. Amazon filed copyright notices. Remember that photo of the set from the road?
Yeah. Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
And they filed copyright strikes on YouTube for the channels that debuted it. Fellowship of Fans took the heat. And then there's been other photos that were posted to Twitter of a empty set of stairs that showed nothing, and there were copyright notices sent by Amazon. So it's like we're devolving. The internet's evolved for 20 years, and now we're devolving into this like copyright protected internet, and it's not fun.
No, I think it will resolve itself in a funny way, in a very funny way. It will. And hey, Monica in the live chat says, so slightly off topic, I know, but I have a Star Wars question for me. For me, sure, I'll be glad to do a Star Wars question. Ask away. There is no truth to the rumor that I helped Weird Al Yankovic write the parody lyric for The Saga Begins. If you're hearing that rumor, it is not true. I'll tell you that. Weird Al wrote that parody song entirely himself. And he wrote that song before the movie came out, and he was accurate to the plot and the jokes in his parody. But I did not help him. Okay.
There is people want to know
Rory.
what
Thank you,
what
Rory.
the updates are on War of the Rohirrim. So what I hear is there are updates, and what I hear is, while the original press release focused on Rohirrim and Helm Hammerhand, and everybody got excited, like, oh, we're going to see Helm Hammerhand, who is one of the most badass kings in Middle Earth history, who dies by standing watch in the frozen snow, right? He freezes to death.
Oh my gosh. That is the Helm Hammerhand story. He freezes to death. His body is sometimes still, sometimes they still see his ghostly figure standing out there.
Right. And he's called Hammerhand because when he gets drunk, he throws a punch and he kills people. I mean, he's just a brutal, brutal horse lord. But what we hear is that the main driver of the story, written by Philippa, or with a story concept by Philippa Boyens, is this really is a Shield Maiden movie. This is the movie to show why the Shield Maidens of Rohan are so well respected.
I'm way into that. I can't wait to see it. It's the project that I'm super excited about. Without, I have a fascinating, deep personal connection to animated adaptations of J.R.R. Tolkien, and this is the first time that we're going back to the 70s, like to see anything in Middle Earth reproduced with animation. I'm so excited about it.
Will it be in PJ's universe? It is being Philippa Boyens.
Very much so.
It's Philippa Boyens' movie.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's very much in the PJ universe. Yes.
yeah, it's very much it's and
No.
Helm Hammerhand is what they named Helm's Deep after. Okay, folks, this is early Rohan, not Second Age Rohan. This is early Rohan.
That Justin. What? No. This story of Helm Hammerhand, I think it might be a little later in the chronology than you think.
I said it's not Second Age. It's
It's
early
not.
Rohan.
No, I think it's Third Age. I'm going to double check that.
Yeah, it's Third Age.
It's Third Age. It's not Second Age. It's Third Age Rohan. I think we'll have the fans double check my brainwaves.
Yeah, there was no Second Age Rohan.
No, there wasn't. So
Yeah.
So to the question, will Scum and Villainy, the Scum and Villainy Cantina, be doing anything during Star Wars Celebration in May? No, but on
We're
one
not a
day
Star
of the
Wars
month,
bar. It's not a Star Wars bar. It has nothing to do
It
with
is-
Lucasfilm. It's
no,
totally
it doesn't.
independent.
It's a geek bar. It's a geek bar where all fandoms and all geekdoms are represented. But on a particular day in May, it's called Fourth. The fourth day of that month, the cantina will be open extra hours with extra drink specials, and a lot of people, including the 501st Battalion, a lot of people coming through in full cosplay. Now, and will either of you be at the celebration? Justin, I'm not sure. Have you ever been to Star Wars Celebration? Because I've never ever been, and I'd like to go someday. But
I
I've never been.
have.
Okay.
Guys,
Well,
let's look at Cliff's face. Everybody, look carefully at Cliff's face when I tell him that the tickets to Celebration are $900.
oh my gosh, are you nuts?
$900. Not even
If I'd have known
Comic-Con
that,
is that expensive.
if I'd have known that, then I would have added a dash of humor to this part of the conversation. My dear Monica, I will not be attending Star Wars Celebration. I will not be attending. Thank you for the thought, though. It's a lovely thought, but I will not be attending. Okay.
What,
okay,
you guys think
Crazy
I'm
Pants.
lying? You guys think I'm lying? Hang on. Let me bring it up. Let me Celebration tickets.
That's funny.
Green Dragon gossip. I get. Speaking of Celebration, I have some more Green Dragon gossip.
You do not have more Green Dragon gossip.
There's little birdies in Los Angeles, the entertainment capital of the world, that have whispered in our ear that with masks on, because we are a safe and healthy fandom,
Yes.
that Amazon is sparing no expense for the Lord of the Rings San Diego Comic-Con experience in July.
Ooh, good. We'll have some great experiences. I'm down for that. I'm so down for that. I would love San Diego in July to be an explosion of Lord of the Rings everything, like 24/7. Like a big off-site event with lots of cool stuff and new tech and really cool things and costumes in refrigerated cases. I want to see the whole thing. I'd love that. I would totally love that.
Oh, you know what?
hey,
I was mistaken. It was not Celebration tickets. It was Disney's D23 Expo. That is $900.
Oh, Disney's D23. Oh gosh, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Well, still, you know what? After I spent $400 for my Disneyland Magic Key pass, I'm not spending any more money on Disney.
In case you guys think I'm making this up, this is Disney.com's official website, D23, which is going to have a bunch of Star Wars stuff. That's a 3-day ticket is $899. Thank you very much. Disney is charging $899 for their D23. Who knows how much they'll charge for Celebration. What is Celebration? Celebration is the Star Wars convention. It's the official Star Wars convention. It's called Star Wars Celebration.
It is the one and only. It's the one big Star Wars show.
But
yes.
if you guys are gonna save your pennies and save your dimes for anything this year, I promised you, save it for San Diego Comic-Con.
I agree. I totally agree.
Even though we're
backing you up on that.
even though we're in Omicron, and there's no doubt going to be a variant next Christmas, and maybe that we have a new variant this summer, I fully predict that Comic-Con will still take place this summer in July, and I think capacity will be limited, so it'll be even harder to get tickets. So
that's predictable. That is predictable. Yes.
Hotels are expensive. If you go for all 5 days at Comic-Con, you can expect to pay $300 a night times 5 nights, $1,500 for a hotel. You can expect tickets will probably be like $300 to get into the convention itself. We will definitely.
There goes my pension.
Yeah. So save your pennies, save your dimes, because you'll want to be in San Diego for the amazing Lord of the Rings offsite experience.
No, actually, Durin the 7th was asking, might the convention be virtual? And I would speculate, and this is only a broad guess, that some of the elements will be virtual, but most of it will be in person this summer. Yeah. I have a feeling.
I think Hall the big Hall H main room will be virtual. Maybe they'll bring the cast and you'll see the Lord of the Rings panel. Maybe our panel. Who knows?
Okay, Steven says I'm going to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers in July, so no Comic-Con for me. You know what? That's a pretty good trade-off. That's a very good trade-off. All right.
Will Torn be streaming at Comic-Con? Now, folks, this is what I wanted to... this is an ongoing conversation, because...
Are we ever allowed to stream at Comic-Con now?
As you know, we've been streaming from Comic-Con a little bit every year for 10 years. Remember when we would carry around an iPad on a stick, and everyone was like, what are you doing with that iPad? And we're like, we're live streaming on Stickam. And then Justin.tv, and then Twitch, and then but I feel like the novelty has worn off, and honestly, like, Matt's Nerd of the Rings is in the chat room with us, and that dude somehow has gotten like 500,000 subscribers in 2 years. And Cliff, yes, you and I have been at this for 10 years, and we have 20,000. So in 2 years, Matt did 10 times the amount of subscribers. I feel like live streaming is just not it.
I agree. Unless you have a regular Discord that's going every day, or you're on Twitch every single day, and you have tens of thousands of people who are coming to see you every day. And I honestly don't have the volunteer time to be able to run a channel like that. Right. I cannot run a channel on that scale.
People in the chat room are asking Cliff, what do we think about the Super Bowl? I think Matt at Nerd of the Rings called it early and called it right. I think here's the deal. We don't know anything going on, but Amazon Uncle Jeff, as we like to call him around here, is spending $1 billion. We've heard rumors of $3 billion on a TV show. This TV show. This show is not just for us. In fact, I may argue that this show is not for us. It is for everybody. It is for every language and every corner of the world. Every single person that is aware of Lord of the Rings, they want to watch this show. And if you're going to make a big splash, if you want everybody in the world to know that there's a new Lord of the Rings coming, and it is coming from Amazon, you have a Super Bowl commercial with the first look trailer.
I think that the Super Bowl idea, as far as promotion and marketing, is the best, strongest idea that they have to position their new product. And that is, I hate to say it, but they're treating the television series like a product that needs to be presented to the very, very big audience, many people not even aware of it, that Amazon is doing it.
Yeah.
Still, even though
It,
we, the hardcore community of fans, have been talking about it for a couple of years, there's still the regular moviegoer who doesn't know.
There's still people on our Facebook page that jump in the comments every time we post something of the latest rumor about the show, and they say, "Wait, Amazon's making a show." So there's
Yeah.
even fans,
Yeah.
our own fans, who aren't online every day and getting their brains corrupted by Twitter that don't know about this show. So if you're going to make the biggest splash ever, you're going to do it on February 13th. February 13th is the Super Bowl this year. It's going.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
I predict we get a 30-second ad, and they say you watch the full teaser on YouTube, and I predict that the YouTube will have the full teaser on YouTube for the world to see on February 13th in the East Coast evening time. So like 8 p.m. around 8 p.m. Eastern, February 13th. So you guys with your own clocks do the math. That's what time you'll want to stay up for.
Agreed. Well,
so anyway,
what an interesting show. We started talking about who's going to sing in Middle Earth, and now we're talking about who's going to sing at the Super Bowl.
Right.
So I guess it's all full circle sometimes.
Well, let's close the show with the title of show. Cliff, let me ask you, what can Amazon do to buy your loyalty?
They can never buy my loyalty, but they could earn it. They could earn carefully my loyalty as a viewer, as an appreciative fan. And the way to do that is having some good, plain Hobbit sense about how you're going to adapt Tolkien, and to have some really, really good ideas and good writers who are going to treat Tolkien with respect and, really give us some good stuff. They have to earn my respect, not by the body count or the explosions or the practical effects or the digital effects or the blah, blah, blah.
What about the pre-release marketing? Like, if they blow $20 million on a Super Bowl commercial,
is that going to
earn you? Is that blowing a ton of money on marketing is not going to hype you up?
No. You know what's going to make me become more intrigued and more, you could say, attached, not loyal, not at all loyal, but I would be a lot more attached to this project if I understood something more about what the writers are doing and the new characters that are going to join us in Arda. And I'd like to see places on the map of where we're going to go. Give us a little blurb and a little bit of a story and a little photograph and drop it on that interactive map. That was where it all started. Amazon marketing gave us an empty map. So why don't they start populating that map with thumbnails, pictures? We could click on it and enlarge it. We could see the setting, see where we are in the geography of Middle Earth or other places of Arda beyond Middle Earth. And it would be so amazing if they gave us this kind of Tolkien-specific, stuff that they've already started with. They started with that bloody map. Why don't they continue to implement that map? If I had an idea that the writers and the creators were really digging into the lore of the world and using the meat and potatoes of the appendices and stuff that they could get from the Silmarillion, then they would earn my greater interest. But they could never buy my loyalty, that's for sure. And
spending $20 million on a big flashy thing there, yeah, I'm with you.
I don't want splashy. I want to look at the meat. I want to look at the potatoes. I want to know what is on the plate.
I want to know who is serving the plate. I want to know I want to know the showrunners, the writers, the lore masters. Who's in charge?
Yes, I agree.
I know it's risky. I think Game of Thrones did very well by putting Benioff and Weiss and Cogman ahead of the show. Like, they did get some heat when they failed, but before they failed, I thought that was really well done by putting a face to the show that the hardcore fans can interact with and respect. So
I love it. I love what Nerd of the Ring says. He says they could earn it by making a fan freaking tastic Middle Earth adaptation. And yes, that's what we
all
want.
right, Nerd of the Rings. Let me ask you this, okay?
That's what we want.
According to everything that Cliff has told me, the things that Sauron's followers do in the Second Age is very violent and very, very dark.
Yeah, so literally dark.
Does this show have to? Do you have to watch? Is the success of this show dependent on whether you can watch it with your children?
Oh, are you asking Matt that question?
Yeah.
Okay, Matt, what do you think? Is it dependent on being able to watch it with your children?
Because our family at Christmas time watches The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings together. It's a family affair. Okay,
but when all of a sudden they're on the island of Numenor and it gets all like that horror movie Midsommar by Ari Aster, and suddenly we have human sacrifice happening on screen like an Ari Aster horror film. That's going to be a little bit of a different Middle Earth experience than most of us are used to watching with our families. And that's going to happen on the Numenorian island where a altar to Morgoth is constructed.
And to everybody that's having the side conversation in the chat here about what the title is going to be, I think we're going to find that out with whatever the Super Bowl, maybe whatever. I think we're going to know the title. We better know the title before that trailer. Come on, Amazon. It's been a year. All you've given us is this crazy synopsis that could have some technical errors, according to Cliff tonight. So it's been a year. Amazon, give us something. Come on, just give us something.
There's one technical error in an adjective, attributed to Sauron, and you're saying that Sauron was the greatest evil, and when everybody knows Morgoth was the greater of the evils. But then again, we're talking about the narrative place and time where we have always resided. All of us, as Tolkien fans, have generally been living in the Third Age. Generally speaking, it's The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings that has brought in the most worldwide appeal. And in that regard, they're talking about the most well-known evil that Middle-earth has experienced, right? And that's because of the narrative.
So Matt answered us in the chat room. He says, He says, I wouldn't write it off, but it would be much better if it's family accessible. Peter Jackson nailed the tone and model for depicting violence and fright. They can depict dark events without pushing it so far to be inaccessible to preteens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's difficult to do. And
guys, we've been talking about this for 2 years now, and I just have to remind you, on this whole conversation about the title, I promise you guys, it's called Lord of the Rings. I know you don't want to hear that, but Uncle Jeff did not spend $1 billion to not call his show Lord of the Rings. That's what he bought. That's what he's buying. That's what he's marketing. It's called Lord of the Rings. Will it have a colon in it and then a second title? A super title, a subtitle? Totally, because it's been The Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug, Battle of the Five Armies, Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, Return of the King.
All subtitle. Yeah, it's all the same.
Yeah.
The same nomenclature should be expected.
War of the Rohirrim. Yep. But I promise you, it's called Lord of the Rings. It's going to be called Lord of the Rings. When they do a Super Bowl trailer, it's going to be Lord of the Rings, because everybody watching Super Bowl, third quarter, you're 8 beers in, your team is losing, you're hanging on for dear life, and you see Lord of the Rings, you're like, hey, I like that thing. Yeah, I'll go check that out. So I'm telling you, it's called Lord of the Rings. It's not going to be called J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. It's going to be called Lord of the Rings.
I would say that when we're talking about the dark qualities of some of the other franchises like Star Wars and Harry Potter, compared to dark and violent stuff that Lord of the Rings was able to show, comparatively, Harry Potter at the very end, when you get to the level of the Deathly Hallows, Harry Potter gets rather dark. I agree with that.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, that's what we have to talk about. It's basically 3 weeks until Super Bowl. According to Matt, Nerd of the Rings, I'm going to give him all the credit if it comes true, and all of the credit if it doesn't come true. So Matt, this is your rumor that there will be a Super Bowl Lord of the Rings trailer. We're 3 weeks away from it, and I hope that we get something more than this synopsis. I hope we get something between now and then.
I agree. I really hope we get something too. I'm also reminded of how dark it was in Revenge of the Sith when Anakin goes to the Jedi Temple and kills all the younglings. He kills the children at the Jedi Temple. So you might be able to have an audience who's a preteen audience come in and watch all the Star Wars films, and the darkest it gets is Anakin killing little babies and little children. And it's there. It's really there. So now you're going to have Lord of the Rings, whatever it's called, and you will have human sacrifice on the island of Numenor. And I think it's up to the showrunners how delicately they want to approach this material so that it can be still accessible to a preteen audience. And maybe it can be done. Looking at the example of George Lucas's Revenge of the Sith, it is possible that it can be done. But
when did Return of the Sith come out? 2005, and then we had just seen Return of the King in 2004, and it's just like Obi-Wan just left Anakin there. It's like Obi-Wan's basically Isildur. Like, throw it into the fire, kill it, burn it. And Obi-Wan says, "You're the chosen one. I have the high ground. Okay, bye." Like, he didn't do what needed. Obi-Wan. Well,
he thought that he was going to die. Obi-Wan did not execute a mercy killing. He thought that Anakin was just going to die of his wounds.
He didn't toss it into the fire. Obi-Wan needed to make sure that was.
Okay, you're so. Oh my gosh,
this is so much fun. Anyway,
and then we wouldn't have had a story. Oh my gosh, come on.
Amazon, please give us something more to talk about.
Are we ready to say goodnight, Gracie?
Good night, Gracie.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Ladies and gentlemen, it really has been a wonderful Tuesday here on Torn, theonering.net. You are in the right place at the right time to talk all things really cool, geeky about J.R.R. Tolkien and his fantabulous secondary world of Arda. And yes, Justin, I'm really quite impressed. You have correctly identified it is the very first time that any major studio or anybody has ever used the word Arda in their press materials and in their marketing materials. We're now on a new level. This is a whole new level of fandom. A new production is coming right around the corner. We should expect announcements very soon. Look at that Super Bowl commercial coming around the corner. We're going to be talking about all the wild new announcements next week, right here at theonering.net. So come on back and join us next Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. It's going to be wonderful. And maybe in between now and then, we'll have Justin pick up The Hobbit and take about 5 hours to read the book. Okay? I love it. I love you guys. You want a teaser trailer? Orion's Angel saying, where is the teaser trailer? And, stay on target, Super Bowl. Stay on target. Seriously, folks, the Super Bowl is
3 weeks is a prediction.
Any reasonable expectation of something is going to happen. It's in the Super Bowl time frame. So have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful time, everybody. Please take good care of yourselves. and stay safe. Until then, we'll be seeing you in all the most familiar places right here next Tuesday. And I want to say good night and good luck to everyone, especially those out there who like the way I end the show with buenos noches y buena suerte. Have a good night, everybody.